Moving on through some of the amendments here. These are some long ones. We'll skip around a little bit. So, you know, sit back, relax a little bit, get out your note paper, take some good notes. Here we go. Amendment number 11. Judicial limits. We're going to kind of skip that one. That just talks about which courts are in charge of which things. It's a little bit technical. We're not going to worry about it. Choosing the vice president here. Now, this has changed a little bit. Now, what happened really is, now remember in the beginning how people were supposed to get together and just kind of choose the leaders they thought were good? Well, what happened is they realized that nobody's going to be elected president unless they're kind of already running for president. So who's ever running for president, he's going to get enough votes to kind of push himself through. So that's kind of where the party system came up, Republicans and Democrats and so forth, where parties would get together and then try to get the most people to vote for their party's candidate. So this is streamlined a little bit to change it so that it actually works better with the parties is how this works. Now notice there is still electors and they still meet and they still vote, and whoever gets the most votes for president and for vice president, that still all kind of works the same, except for the whole tie breaking and the five, you know, you use the 5 highest people to vote for from there. That's been changed. So whoever has the greatest number of votes is the president, and he shall be president if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such a majority, then from the persons of the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. So if nobody gets a majority of the votes from these electors, then the House chooses. But it's set up with this two-party system that somebody's going to have the majority, really. So you don't just vote for the group of, but you vote for president and vice president as 2 separate votes right now. So that's why the president and vice presidents run together. Where before, everybody was running for president, and whoever got the most votes was president, and whoever got the second votes was vice president. Now, presidents and vice presidents are voted on separately. Now, not by separately, I mean that you do one vote for them together. You vote for the president and the vice president. Now, they run together now, so when you're voting for, you know, for this election that's coming up, if you're taking this class in 2012, which is when it's being recorded, it was President Obama and Governor Romney that were running for president. Now, when you vote for them, you also vote for their vice president that they've chosen. So it's not like if President Obama gets the most votes and Governor Romney gets the second votes, President Obama is the president and Governor Romney is the vice president. That's not how it works. Now you have the vice president and vice president, you run for them separately. So that was changed a little bit, changed in 1804, and again mostly in response to the party system, that they wanted to make the votes a little bit more workable with the party. But you still vote for electors. Notice you don't vote for the president, you vote for an elector who's going to vote for the president for you. So still a little bit of a republic, although you know who your elector is going to vote for usually before you vote for them. Now that's not always true. Electors can change their mind, and it has happened a few times, but boy are they in trouble by their party if they do that. Alright, so now we get 3 slavery amendments here. This is right around the Civil War here. Slavery abolished, Amendment 13. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof a party have been duly committed, shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Done. Congress shall have power to appropriate legislation to enforce it. Small but very powerful amendment here. It's just easy, right? No slavery. So that is that amendment. That's the one that did it. Kicked off the Civil War. The Civil War, where the states decided, okay, we don't want to be a part of your Constitution anymore, really is what they were saying. They weren't saying we want slaves. Well, they did want slaves, but their response was, okay, we just don't want to be a part of your Constitution anymore. Now, the government fought them and said, no, you still have to be part of our Constitution. But after that, after the Civil War, there's these two amendments right here, 14 and 15, that were kind of meant to take care of the problems that were left over. So 14 here, all persons naturalized or born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So if you are born in the United States, you are a citizen. Naturalized means that you've been, you become a citizen. You are, you come in as an immigrant and become a citizen. But if you're born in the United States, you are a citizen. Now this was meant so that black people, as black people had kids, that they would ensure that they were citizens. The controversy with this right now is you get illegal immigrants coming in from usually South America or other places. They run into America right as they're about to give birth, and they give birth, and guess what? Those children are citizens because of this amendment. So these people have, they may not be citizens themselves, but their children are citizens because they were born in the United States. Now, I think that's a little bit of an unintended result of this amendment, but nonetheless, that's what the amendment says. If you're born in the United States, you are a citizen, whether your parents are citizens or not. And then that causes a little bit of problem because you do have all these people that they're not citizens, but their children are, and sometimes that can cause conflict. That's you can see happening in our country right now. So no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of a citizen of the United States, nor shall they deprive them of life, liberty, and property without law. So that's to protect them. Number 2, they have to change how they count people for representatives. Representatives shall be, now this is the people from the House, right? The House of Representatives. So representatives, remember, they're chosen by how many people you have in your state. And it used to be that the black slaves were only counted as 3/5 of a person, but they're going to change that right here. They shall be apportioned among several states according to the respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state. Doesn't matter whether they're race, whatever race they are, in each state, excluding Indians, not taxed. So Indians, if they're not taxed, they don't get to be counted. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President, Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive judicial officers of a state, or members of legislature thereof, is denied to any male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age. So at this point, the voting age is 21 years old. If any of those people are not allowed to vote, it is going to cut down your numbers. So if you don't allow people to vote, except for participation in rebellion or other crimes, the basis of representation thereof shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 days. All that is, it's a little technical, but if you don't let people vote, you don't get to count them. Now, before they used to be counted as 3/5, but they couldn't vote. But now they're saying if they can't vote, they're going to be counted as 0. If you do let them vote, they're going to be counted as 1. So the voting and the counting was changed. Now, this one, number 3, was meant to kind of clean up parts of the Civil War. Basically, it says that anybody who, nobody can be a senator or representative, nobody can hold public office if they rebelled against the Constitution. So if they shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution. So these were people from the Civil War. In the Civil War, they were fighting against the Constitution, right? They said, we don't want to be a part of your Constitution anymore. We are going to rebel and become our own country. So they rebelled against the Constitution. Well, this amendment says anybody who has rebelled against the Constitution cannot be a public officer, senator, representative, etc. So nobody from the Confederacy could join Congress. They did say that... this section says that the government will not pay the debts of the Confederate Army, so the South Army that rebelled, the government will not pay their debts off. So if you loaned money to the Confederate Army, tough luck, they're not paying you back. These are just some of the things to clean up the Civil War, clean up some of the issues that came from the Civil War, making sure that everybody's a citizen, making sure they count people for representatives and just kind of taking care of the people who rebelled. Amendment 15. This one would made it even clearer about, because remember up here it said that you can't count people if you don't allow them to vote. But the government wanted to make that even clearer here in Amendment 15. The rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied by the state according to race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. So, you have to allow them to vote. You have to allow everybody to vote, every male over 21, whether they're black, white, or whether they were a slave or not. Now, women still can't vote yet, so we haven't changed that. This is only for men so far. All right, number 16. We've got two more on this one. Number 16, income tax. Now remember, the Constitution said that the federal government cannot collect income tax. Well, it changes here in 1913. This changed at the beginning of the 20th century, where Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. So it doesn't matter. The government can do income tax. So now we have the dreaded income tax. Bum, bum, bum. I'm drawing a mad guy here for income tax. So now government can do income tax, and it surely does. Number 17, senators changed. Remember, who were senators chosen by before? They were chosen by state legislatures. The people didn't choose it. The state legislature chose it. But now it says the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state elected by the people. So the people of the state, we choose our own senators now. They're still around for 6 years. They still each get 1 vote, and they still have to have the same qualifications. If you're going to vote, you have to have the qualification to be voting in that state. When vacancies happen, so if a senator dies or resigns or is impeached and removed from office, the executive authority, so this is the governor of that state, shall decide to hold a new election. And the legislature of the state can give the government power to make a temporary appointment, so he can have somebody fill in until the election happens. So that was amendment number 17. Changed it so that senators were no longer chosen by the state legislature, but they're chosen by the people. Those are the next amendments there, up to 17. We've got one more set to go. It's a long set too, but we'll skip through it fast. All right. Hopefully you have some good notes for the quizzes and the writing assignments.